People who are confused, they see the oneness. And what kind of oneness they say? That they think that whatever is anatma is atma. That is the so-called oneness they see. This is a very interesting refrain because it is all about oneness. Vedanta Shastra is nothing but Aikya Vidya. We can easily say that it is all about the teaching of oneness. And here the teacher in the text, the author of the text, has this play on Aikya, has this wonderful play on the word Aikya. Aikya is what we want. Aikya is our bread and butter. Aikya is what we know. Aikya is exactly what is needed to overcome what is called samsara. It's all about Aikya. And but in the beginning of the quest, the problem of samsara, the problem of feeling unaccomplished, unloved, everything, unappreciated, judgmental of the self and others, and in short, just mental. Okay, yeah, and so this is all because there is a mix up, and that mix up is between the I and the not I, Atma and Anatma. So, even though the teaching is all about oneness, there is a way of understanding this oneness. So, you separate in order to unite. This is one more paradox in Vedanta Shastra. You separate in order to bring together. I mean, you don't bring anything together, it's already together. And so you see after the teaching, Aikyam Prapashyanti. The students who have undergone this kind of a rigorous and continuous exposure to the methodology of Vedanta, they see the Aikya, they see meaning, they understand, see within quotes, they understand the Aikya. Fantastic. But after enquiry, before enquiry, there is another kind of a quote-unquote Aikya, oneness between the I, which is completely unlike the not I, and then the two are mixed up. How are they mixed up? And more importantly, why are they mixed up? They are mixed up primarily because because the difference between Satyam and Mithya has not been understood. When Mithya is not understood, Mithya becomes Satyam, and there is no other Satyam. And so when Mithya becomes Satyam, then everything becomes Satyam, because we are surrounded by Mithya. Everything is Mithya except for the person who says this is Mithya. Apart from that person who is consciousness personified, everything is Mithya. So if I take Mithya to be real, there is no such thing called Satyam. Mithya has become Satyam. And so then there is no such thing to understand. And so when Mithya becomes Satyam, samsara, the volume of thing called samsara turns up. You turn up the volume on samsara when Mithya becomes Satyam, because the Satyam Mithya, what is that? Viveka has not been there, it hasn't been understood, it hasn't been processed, it hasn't been identified, and therefore Satyam and Mithya are confused. How can you confuse a light with its shadow? But still, that kind of a confused person, confusion happens, and this confused person is the one who needs the Vidya to get unconfused. And that is the section. So therefore, the word Aikyam, there is a play. He need not have said Aikyam. He could have said the two are mixed up, or they have become khichdi, or something like that. But he specifically and deliberately uses the word Aikyam to describe this confusion, because this Aikyam is really not the oneness that we are looking for. So then what is the oneness that we want? What is the oneness that we are looking for? If we were to ask that question, then we would say that the delineation has to happen. This is the methodology. First we say dvau hi padarthau atma anatmanau. There are only two things in the universe. One is atma, the other is not atma. Not atma, first I have to recognize not atma. And the difference between myself and not atma I have to recognize, such as body, mind, sense, complex, etc. We know the whole drill. And then what? Then we assign a reality term to all that is anatma. We don't call it anatma anymore. We call it mithya. So that is, mithya is not an object. Anatma is also not an object. Mithya is nothing but a reality term. Mithya is not some object you go and buy in the market. Mithya is a reality term to denote the reality of all the objects that surround me. And what is the reality? That reality is that they are dependent on that consciousness which cognizes them, namely myself alone, Atma. Without this consciousness, that object cannot be lit up, in other words, cognized. It's as good as non existent because its existence totally and completely depends on the I. This is the second step. So delineation of mithya and delineation of objects as mithya and recognizing their dependence on the I, that is the operation of that is understood through the operation of the pramana, that is understood proper, and when that is understood properly, we get this understanding that what is this mithya? Mithya is not an object. It's the reality term assigned to the objects that are completely different from the I, that are dependent upon the I. So then the separation is complete. So then what am I? Satyam. Satya Jnanananda Lakshanam. Atma. So this Atma is this Brahman Atma is Satyam Jnanadi Lakshana, meaning it is indicated by the words, its nature. I am the one whose nature is indicated by the words Satyam Jnanam Anantam. I am there always. I am consciousness, and I am not the sum total of the body, mind, sense complex, and I am different from everything I perceive and everything that I objectify. I never come to an end. I am free of time. I am free of space. My existence is self existence. It is not dependent on any other consciousness. And that existence is in the form of sentience because I know I am, and it's in the form of sentience which is all knowledge. So this is which is limitless. This is I. So the separation is complete. But then we are stuck with the duality. Now there are two realities. One is Satyam, one is Mithya. What to do? Then the next stage is to look at the Aikya, oneness. Aikya is a beautiful word. It means oneness. Ekasya bhava. Eka means one, Aikya means oneness. And so now after separating cognitively, of course, then it is time to see and understand the oneness. And how is this accomplished? By understanding that everything that I call mithya, all the objects starting with my own body, mind, sense complex, that I objectify is what? Is nothing but Satyam. Okay, just now you said it's mithya. Now you're saying it is Satyam. It is dependent on Satyam. Means what? It is Satyam. It is non-separate from Satyam. Like you can just take the example of ornament. The ornament, for its very existence, is dependent upon gold. in relation to gold, the ornament is mithya, true. But whatever is mithya is non-separate from its source. So if you take away the gold, there is no ornament. If gold is satyam, in regard to this, with regard to this example, in the context of this example, gold is satyam, and so wherever there is mithya, satyam cannot be far away. Mithya is nothing but satyam, but satyam is not mithya. Ornament gold, yes, ornament is gold. The shine of the ornament belongs to gold. Weight of the ornament belongs to gold. The color of the ornament belongs to gold. In fact, the whole ornament is gold, but we cannot say gold is ornament. Gold can be in the form of biscuits, yes, not the kind you have with your tea, but it can be in the form of biscuits stashed away, stashed away somewhere in a safe, or in a safe place outside of the where the income tax people cannot find. And so the gold can be in the form of bars, and if those are found, one ends up behind bars, especially if it's unaccounted for. And so gold can be in the form of biscuits, gold can be in the form of bars. So gold is not ornament. Ornament is gold. And this is what is Aikya. This is oneness. So when I look at Anatma, after this knowledge, then I don't see Anatma anywhere. There is no such thing as Anatma. The word the word un, which is very unbecoming now, is swallowed up. There is only Atma, Atma everywhere. There is everything I see is an extension of me. Everything I see is an iteration of me. And that iteration is called mithya, but mithya becomes fun when satyam is known. If satyam is not known, then the mithya becomes a source of pain, sorrow, confusion. That's why the person of self-knowledge is described as Atma Kridaha, Atma Ratihi, Atma Ramaha. These words you will find in the towards the end of the Mundakopanishad. Atma Ratihi means the one who just plays in the realm of the Atma. There is no Anatma. Everything is Atma. And so Mithya becomes, like a child's toy that as an adult you can play. If you are a child and playing with the child's toy, then it becomes real. And then the prospect of losing it, the child cries at the prospect of it being gone. And it's the teddy bear, it will not even give it up to the mother, it will not even give it up for washing, it will not give it up at all. It's so attached to that to that teddy bear or to some kind of a toy. And this is the teaching. And so therefore what? So therefore there is no such thing as Anatma. But in the beginning, we are only 20 verses into the text of 144 verses. So we are still where? In the beginning. And so in the beginning, this delineation is made to go through this process. To go through this process of first separating and then understanding the reality of that which has been separated. Understanding these two orders of reality. And why are these two orders of reality not understood? If we ask the question, then the answer for that is also clear. The answer lies in the fact that these two orders of reality are mixed up because of the existence of the third order of reality. OMG, there is a third order also? Yes. It is a personal reality. It's a branded personal reality called Pratibhasika, a subjective reality. Objective reality, Satyam Mithya, Ishvara and the projected universe. Ishvara and the Srishti. Ishvara Srishti, which is actually Ishvara Abhivyakti. And this is the manifestation of Ishvara. And so this is what has to be understood. If this is not understood, then if I'm not able to understand everything as Ishvara, there is something in the way, which is my own subjective reality, the cataract in my own vision, so to speak, which is not allowing me to see the truth, which is not allowing me to see the truth of the of this universe. And what are the cataracts? Raga and Dvesha. Two cataracts, enough. Raga and Dvesha projects its own distorted view, that, mired in wants, mired in non-understanding, and I have my own projections. The want itself, all kinds of wants and don't wants, and this should be like this should be not like this, shoulds and should nots, wants and don't wants, and I wish it were like this and I wish it were not like this. All these raga dveshas have their own projection, because of which I see the world painted with the colors of subjectivity. This is and the raw material for that, raga dvesha, which are the products of the unconscious mind, which is the projection of early childhood hurts, etc., pains, sorrows, whatever you want to call them. And so therefore this aikya, the real aikya, I'm not able to understand, because of this third order of reality creating this my own personal reality, projecting an alternate universe and creating mischief in the heart. And so, with this introduction, let us continue. And so, here we are, verse 19 we saw. Now, next one. आत्मा प्रकाशकः स्वच्छः देहस्तामस उच्यते आत्मा प्रकाशकः स्वच्छः देहस्तामस उच्यते तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परम् तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परम्. What kind of a ajnanam must it be? How heavy must be the shades of Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance. And why is it so heavy? Because they see, prapashyanti, they see or they mistake the aikya. They see a mistaken oneness between what? Atma and the body. What is Atma? It is the great illuminer, illuminer. It's the great illuminer. How is it the great illuminer? It is a great illuminer because that is its nature. It is the only conscious entity. And it is its nature to illumine itself. It is self-illumined and it is always shining, and it illumines everything else. And so this, and that which it illumines necessarily is what? Non non-illumined. It's an object, illumined, again, not really that, it's like a flashlight. We shouldn't take it literally. But it is an object. It's an object. What it illumines is an object. It illumines the object. All are objects, and the subject alone is Atma. The content of the subject is Atma. And then, this is the what does the Atma illumine? Everything other than itself. And it illumines itself also. But then I know myself, I know I am, and everything becomes evident to me. There being no other source of consciousness, therefore, this is the only source of light because of which everything comes to light. And what is the body? The body is dense. The body is inert. No, but I am alive. If I pinch myself, I will say, ow. That is, you are alive because of the presence of Sukshma Sharira. You are alive because of the presence of Atma. When the Atma departs from the body, no matter whoever pinches, whoever does anything, there is no response. Jada is the nature of the body. The body is shining in borrowed light of Satchidananda, Atma. That is what it is. So, body comes, body goes. Atma is. Atma alone is, body comes, body goes. And so this is the teaching. Body comes, body goes. And Atma illumines all bodies. My body also it illumines. And then because the body is completely different from the Atma. Atma luminous, body dense, non-luminous. And then Atma is self-shining, body is a dependent reality waiting for the Atma to bring it to light. So then what else? The Atma Prakashakaha. Prakashakaha, the illuminer. Deha is Prakashya, that which is illumined. And then Swachha. Swachha means free of agenda here. The illuminer, Atma, does not have any agenda, does not have some kind of a pressure that, okay, this one I'm going to illumine, this one I'm not going to illumine. Such things are not there. Such things are not there. And such things are not there because the Atma is always the illuminer and the body always illumined. And so the Atma is Swachha because it is not having any particular agenda or its own raga dvesha on what to illumine and what to not illumine. It illumines everything. And so, and the body is what? Tamasaha uchyate. Tamasaha uchyate. Tamasaha means it is of the nature of denseness, meaning it is inert. And that which is inert cannot bring itself to light, and far from that, it cannot bring anything else to light either. And so the Deha and Atma are opposite. If you mix up the illuminer and the illumined, then definitely it is a prasada, so to speak, of Atma Ajnanam. So Tayoraikyam Prapashyanti. They see the oneness where it is, where it should not be there. Still they mix up Atma and Anatma. Next one. Atma nityo hi sadrupah deho nityo hyasanmayah. Atma nityo hi sadrupah deho nityo hyasanmayah. Tayoraikyam prapashyanti kimajnanamatah param. Tayoraikyam prapashyanti किमज्ञानमतः परम्. Atma Nityah Sadrupah. Atma is Nitya. Nitya means infinite, always there, free of time, endless, without an end in sight. It is always there and limitless. And then Sadrupaha, it is in the form of Sat. It is the only source of existence. It is the nature of existence which is conscious. So it is conscious existence. It is the only, in other words, we can say consciousness that exists, or we can say existence that is sentient. Either way, it's the same. Sat is Chit, Chit is Sat. And so, then Atma Nityah Sadrupaha. And what about the body? Dehaha Oh, here it says Deha also Nitya. Deho Nityo Hyasanmaya. What is going on? Do not take that little S avagraha there for granted. That there is an S here, kind of an S sign, which shows there is an elision that has taken place due to Visarga Sandhi. Due to that Visarga there, and then it is what? It is the is elided. The is elided. It's the same sandhi like Shivoham. So it's there, the is elided. So deha anityaha. Deho nityo hyasanmayah. Anityaha. So Atma Nitya, big difference. Deha Anitya. And that because of which I know the Deha is Anitya is because of the Nitya Atma. The truth of the observer, the Sakshi, is Nitya. Therefore, I can say, oh, my body is falling apart. Oh no, I am over the hill. I am under the weather. Over, under. I am besides myself. Okay, over, under, besides. I am on top of myself. Like this, we can. I am in top form. So you can use any direction, and then you can describe the body from various ways, and then the mix up, of course, is inevitable if there is ajnanam. So deho nityah, dehah anityah, asanmayah. Anityah means we know it is perishable. We know it is perishable. How? Because through experience of having lived for some time in this world, we know that people who die do not come back in the same body. That's why the body, we see the body being disposed of. Either it is very deep, 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 deep into the ground, or it is put at the put on the flames, put on the funeral pyre. So in any case, that is so after seeing that, one knows that the body is mithya. Its nature is of dependent existence. Therefore, anything that is mithya is anitya. But how do I know I am Nitya? Body I know Anitya because I have observed. I have observed. Unfortunately, there is death in every family, so everybody has observed this. But then how do I know I will be there? This is what the Shruti Pramana. This is where we have to help ourselves for Shruti Pramana. The Shruti says that you are going to be there. Shruti says you survive death. Even though you are not there to say, oh, I'm looking down on my body and I have departed. You are not there to say that I have flown away from the body. You may not you may not see that or know that. You don't know that right now anyway. So, but that you survive death, that you survive this ending called death, is known because we take the Shruti to be a means of knowledge. And the reason why there is a doubt here, there is like, will I survive death or not? And just because the Shruti, the Pramana says I survive death, why should I believe that? Why should I believe that? Well, even because for two reasons. One is, since it is not independently verifiable, whether you survive death or not is not independently verifiable. Is it? No. And so therefore, if you say, I do not believe in life after death, that means what? It is a belief. It is a non-verifiable belief. And even if you say, I believe that I survive death, that is also what? A belief. Both are beliefs. So it's not that one is the reality and another is a belief. What your own pet belief you think is the reality, that's all. Both are beliefs. Both are non-verifiable, both are beliefs. What we say is that nothing in the universe comes to an end. It only undergoes transformation. The physicists will tell you this. You cannot add anything to the universe. You cannot take anything out of the universe. All the power that you have is in transforming one thing to another thing. If this is true of inert matter, what about the conscious being? Why should that come to an end? We extend this logic. So this is one way we help ourselves to a logic that goes along with the Shruti, that helps to assimilate what the Shruti says. That is what is called Yukti, which is Shruti, which is not Pratikula, which is not against the Shruti. Pratikula means going in a different grain than the Shruti. So therefore, what kind of a logic it is? Anukula yukti. Shruti anukula yukti. A yukti, a logic that helps us to assimilate in our own way with the help of some reasoning the message of the Shruti. So this is one example of that. Another example is that, see, we assume that if there is no vyavahara, there is no existence. Vyavahara means any kind of transaction. So after death, do we see the person going to the shops? No. Do we see the person buying, selling, talking, walking? No. So we confuse non-transaction with non-existence. This is a very big mistake. Why? Because what are you in sleep? Are you transacting or not? No, in dream. No, we are not talking of dream. In deep sleep, are you having transactions or not? No. All right, here's the next and most obvious question. Do you exist or not? You have to say yes. Why? Because you survived the sleep and said it was very enjoyable. And so therefore, you exist in sleep even though you do not have a single transaction. Not a word has been spoken. Not anything has been bought. Nothing has been sold. No, you haven't attended anything. Any kind of a function you haven't attended. You haven't gone anywhere. You haven't talked to anybody. You haven't acted in a play. You haven't done anything. Still what? You exist. In the same way, the jnani who knows I am not a karta, does the jnani exist or not? Yes. Even though the jnani knows all these transactions are just happening, I have nothing to do with them, I am not the doer, still exists. So this confusion or this conflation between existence and the capacity for transactions as being a proof of existence is wrong. We have to get out of that mindset. So we can have existence without transaction. We can have existence with transaction. And then so, the Shruti example is this, what is that? Sarpihi, Dadhiniva Sarpihi. So in the yogurt, there is butter. Sarpish. So there is butter in the yogurt. Fat is there in the yogurt. Now where is the fat? You can't see. You can't see that. But just because it is not available for transaction, it is not available for you to put on your bread, doesn't mean that it is not there. So what do you have to do? You have to churn the yogurt to get the butter. And when you churn it, it comes forth in a specific objectifiable way. That is the example given in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. We have seen that long ago, and so therefore therefore we had we have this understanding that while everything is Atma, Atma is not any one thing. Atma is free of time. So the butter is there and it is existence. It is existent itself, but then it is not available for transaction. So existence and transaction, you cannot confuse, because there are many things in the universe that are existent but unmanifest. Like gold is existent where? Underneath the ground. You have to bring it out. It is there. Electricity is existent where? In the waterfall. Electricity is there. You have to tap into it. You need the equipment to be made. You need some kind of an electro, this big field. You have to have the correct equipment to harvest the electricity. And so like this, water is there where? In the form of unrained clouds. Water is there. And so like this, we cannot confuse existence with the things being available for transaction. So now let us look at the work. So dehaha anityaha asanmayaha. Asanmayaha means mithya. It is nothing but asat. It is only mithya, 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 mithya. And so dehaha anityaha asanmayaha. And these foolish people who are mired in Atma Ajnanam see the oneness of both of them. Then the Shloka 22 concludes this section. Next one we will see it goes deeper, and another section will come up. So what is the conclusion? Atmanastat prakashatvam yat padarthavabhasanam. Atmanastat prakashatvam yat padarthavabhasanam. नाग्न्यादिदीप्तिवत् दीप्तिः भवत्यान्ध्यं यतो निशि. नाग्न्यादिदीप्तिवत् दीप्तिः भवत्यान्ध्यं यतो निशि. So Atmanah, of the Atma, for the Atma, of the Atma, tat prakashatvam, the ability to its luminosity, prakashatvam, the luminosity, the ability to objectify everything by the Atma, that property of the Atma. You can't call it really property. That lakshana of the Atma, that definition of the Atma is what? Yat padartha avabhasanam. That prakashatvam translates, that luminosity translates into the ability to light up everything. So how is that luminosity looked at? What is that luminous power of the Atma? The power of the Atma is nothing other than its ability to light up things in the universe. And then the author reminds us that this lighting up should not be taken literally. When we say light up, we mean metaphorically, not really. Because if we meant it really, then really we would be confused. Because we would think of the Atma as some kind of a headlight, like sometimes in the workers construction workers who work in the night, and they have a light right here, and even cyclists who cycle in the dark, they have a headband with a big light here. And so you think of yourself like that. You just keep on lighting up everything. It's not a literal light. Even dentists, they have a mirror there to reflect the reflect the light, to make the mouth brighter so that they can see, because the mouth is a small place. They have to be able to see where they are putting the filling, where, and more importantly, where they are drilling. They have to see. And so so the author is very worried here, is concerned that we may mistake it as some kind of a big lamp that we are carrying around, an inbuilt lamp which is there, which lights up everything. And so the author wants us to be very clear that this is not the kind of light that we are talking about. So tat prakasham padarthava bhasanam, meaning it is the ability to bring things to light metaphorically, not literally. That is what the first line says. It is the illuminer, all right. We saw that light last time. It is the only source of awareness, consciousness. And then since since it is the only source of existence and consciousness, since it has the ability to quote unquote bring things to light, it is compared to Jyoti, light. And then many people, what do? They sit in meditation waiting for yellow light to appear, blue light to appear. Dream on, darlings, we have to tell them, because it's not going to happen. And even if it happens, like sometimes you're told to rub the eyes and then sit in meditation, and the act of rubbing the eyes, sometimes there are flashes that come. If you close the eyes very, very tightly and then let go and don't open the lids, some kind of flashes are seen. And that must not be mistaken for Atma, because any light that you are able to objectify is not the Atma. So we can't take the light literally. And the second line makes this very, very clear. And then, na agnyadi deeptivat deeptihi. It is not a deepti, it is not a light like fire and like a firebrand. This is an ancient text. So like a firebrand, like lightning, like sun, like moon. It's not a light literally like that. Na agnyadi deeptivat deeptihi. And then, so it is to think like this is itself wrong. It's not to be taken literally. It's not a literal light. Then what kind of a light is it? It is a metaphorical light. It's not a literal light. Because if it were a literal light, then then it is easy, because then you would just feel like you're carrying a torch, and you're not carrying a torch. It's not a literal light. And then what kind of a light is it? Yat padartha avabhasanam. It's a metaphorical light which helps in the manifestation of everything that is in the object world. Not like Agnyadi Deeptivat, not like the light of the fire and etc. The Agnyadi, Adi Padat, because the word Adi etc. is there, then we have to bring in all the other source of illumining in the ancient times, like the Agni, like the fire, like the light of the fire, and light of sun, light of moon, light of lightning, etc. So Atmanah Deeptihi, the light of the Atma, Bhavati Yataha Nishihi Andhyam. So what does that mean? That the luminosity of the Atma is not like any other light. Why? Because the ordinary lights, what are the ordinary lights? Like if you have a tube light, you have a flashlight, you have a firebrand, they are limited in their capacity to illumine things. They are limited. They can only illumine one thing at the same time. So even though we say where there is light, there is no darkness, even though we say that, still there is when there is some in the night, there are certain areas which are not illumined. You take, for example, at night, if you're walking on the road at night, then there are street lights at regular intervals. When you are walking under the street light, everything is very clear. You won't be stepping on an insect, and you won't be bumping into something, and you are still able to walk. But then after you go from the refuge of that street light, and you are able to see the other street light a distance away, but in the middle, what is there? Darkness. So you see that the local lights are able to illumine certain things, but still the darkness can prevail, because that light is only for that particular area, and that is able to illumine a certain thing. Even during the day, when the sun is like Atma, we say, and the sun illumines everything at all times, but still under the shade of the tree, what is there? Darkness is there. It's not able to remove that. Under the shade of the tree, darkness is there. Inside a house which doesn't have many windows, darkness is there. If it's especially facing away from the sun, if it's directionally not oriented. So even though we say light is opposed to darkness, these lights that we know of, sun, moon, Agni, firebrand, lightning, etc., is that darkness always prevails in some place or the other, because all these have limited power of lighting up things, these lights. So but what about Atma? It is always present in all places. It illumines everything, including the darkness. It is not opposed to darkness. It is not, and the darkness here signifies ignorance. It is not even opposed to Atma Ajnanam. It's not opposed to Atma Ajnanam because it illumines Atma Ajnanam. It illumines my ignorance, which is why I run, seeking the teacher, seeking knowledge. It illumines the very ignorance which I cannot stand. But Atma is able to stand that ignorance because it knows that I am opposed to, I'm opposed to all these dyads, good, bad, dharma, adharma, darkness, light. It is beyond all that. So its luminosity is not like the local luminosity. The local luminosity is finite, and the local luminous objects, there is a limit of what they can illumine, and it is time bound. The sun sets, the moon sets, the firebrand goes out, the lightning finishes and finishes striking, and so it illumines even the darkness, because through the light of the Atma, everything is everything is brought to light. It comprehends light, it comprehends darkness. It's not opposed to light and darkness. And the light that we think about, the local lights, are supposedly opposed to darkness, but still darkness can prevail. But where Atma is, it brings everything to light without any shesha, without anything left. Let's just make sure we haven't left out any words here. Na agnivat deeptivat deeptihi. Yeah, so that's what it is. So anything in whose presence things are known is called light, but the Atma is a different kind of light. All other lights are dependent on something. They're dependent on fire, they're dependent on something, and the Atma is the light which even illumines the sun. So therefore, we cannot compare the Atma to some local lights. Local lights are there. So therefore, the consciousness is not opposed to darkness. The light of consciousness is not like the light of fire, etc. Because if the light of consciousness is like fire, then is like the fire, then they will not be, darkness will not be objectified by us. But we say this is night. How? Because the Atma which illumines the darkness brings the darkness to light, so to speak. So here we shouldn't get confused between the knowledge which dispels tamas, ignorance, and the light of the Atma, the ability to objectify darkness. That is the special light. It's the light of all lights, because all lights, in trying to look for the darkness, they dispel the darkness. Here the Atma can even objectify the darkness, and so therefore it is a different kind of light. Next one. देहोऽहमित्ययं मूढः धृत्वा तिष्ठत्यहो जनः ममायम् इत्यपि ज्ञात्वा घटद्रष्टेव सर्वदा देहोऽहमित्ययं मूढः धृत्वा तिष्ठत्यहो जनः ममायम् इत्यपि ज्ञात्वा घटद्रष्टेव सर्वदा. Tishtati janaha. The people stay. People stay. Very easy. Tishtati janaha. Tishtati. They remain. Stay means remain. So they remain. How do they remain? Who remains? First of all, Janaha Tishtati. Who remains? People remain. People remain. The person remains. What kind of a person remains? The word Moodha qualifies Janaha. An ignorant person remains. A deluded person remains. And so, how does the person remain? Dehaha ayam iti. Dehaha aham iti. I am remains with the conviction, I am the body. I am the body. The person rests as though contented, thinking, I am the body. I am as good as the body. And so, therefore, so still the person does not question. Does not question. And so the body is there, and the body is, this is how the body is. I have two hands, I have two legs, I have a head, and of course it doesn't work very well, but I still have a head, and buddhi is lacking, but still I am as good as this body. I am this body. The person rests. Who? Moodha, the deluded person, rests in thinking that the deluded people rest in the thought, that in the conviction rather, that I am as good as this body. Then the next line says, Mama ayam iti api jnatva sarvada, even though they know all the time. Sarvada jnatva. The jnatva goes along with sarvada. The jnatva, sarvada, having known all the time, knowing all the time, api, even knowing all the time, what? That this ayam deha, we have to borrow again first line, ayam deha ghatadrashta iva. Sarvada jnatva, or then sarvada also goes with mama ayam iti sarvada, sarvada mama ayam iti jnatva, or mama ayam iti sarvada jnatva, ever knowing, always knowing what? That this body is not me, it belongs to me. This itself, Abba, what a wonderful change. I body, me body, from I body, me body, the person is able to see what? My body. Not yet, but the person says, Ghatadrashta iva sarvada. Ghatadrashta means what? Like the seer of the pot knows that this pot is mine. This pot belongs to me. Why? Somebody gave it to me as a present. So I have this pot. This pot belongs to me. The seer of the pot knows very clearly. Even though the seer of the pot has a pot belly, the seer of the pot does not mistake himself or herself to be the pot. Okay, pot belly may be there, but the seer does not say, I pot, me pot. No, my pot. My pot means it's different from me. There is a sambandha. There is a karaka sambandha because of the sixth case. There is a sixth case connection, shashti sambandha. There is a sixth case connection where I say, hello, this is my pot, don't touch it, it belongs to me. Mama aham, mama idam. And but so ghatadrashta iva, so when the person is ghatadrashta, when the person is able to see some inert thing, like pot, like a plate, like lid, like figurine, anything. They say house, for example. Nobody says this is me house. This is my house. This is my pot. So there is a relationship, all right, but then it is not confused for oneself. But I am Moodha Janaha, this person who is so deluded, what does the person think? What do such people think? Aham deha iti. They don't say mama dehaha iti, but aham dehaha. This is the mix-up that causes sorrow. Aham dehaha, the aham is equated to dehaha, whereas they are able to easily say mama mama griham, my house. This is my house. This is my cup. This is my table. This is my pot. They can say, but still they rest contented, so to speak, without interrogating that there is the relationship between the deluded relationship between themselves and the body. They assume they are the body. They don't inquire into the fact whether this assumption is true or not. So only when these kinds of assumptions are questioned, then only the mistake can be corrected. The person is not ready to accept, even after studying of the scriptures sometimes, and because of the conclusion is, I am a mortal, I am as good as the body, I am as good as the mind. So then only the inquiry, when this is questioned, when these conclusions are shaken up, then only the inquiry starts. So first I have to look at the body as an object. And even when I don't experience the body during sleep, I know that it existed when I awake. And so then this gives the clue that I'm not the body. The experience is different from that which is the experiencer, is different from what is experienced. And so therefore, whatever I experience, whatever I quantify, whatever I objectify, is what? Is nothing but but anatma. It may belong to me, but I am this consciousness. I am this consciousness, and I am not the sum total of the body mind complex. This has to become very clear. More we'll see next week. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Ornament gold is not ornament. Atma is anatma, atma is not anatma. Can we say mithya is satyam, satyam is not mithya? That's exactly what I said. Yeah. Okay. All the best. Om.